When we talk about self-realization, it just simply means realizing that you exist, but you don't have any attributes. You don't have an age or a location. You are just existence. Um, Consciousness, awareness, there's different names that we use to describe the indescribable, but it's just that being, that presence, I, existence, am. In fact, it is prior to I am. And we realize that by recognition. So every single human expression is self-realized. But there are some human expressions that recognize it, and that's what we call self-realization. And it never changes. It doesn't change. It is the stable. It can be experienced as the background. It can just be experienced as presence. But one thing for sure is it is ageless, timeless, boundless, ever-present awareness. And that's who you are. That's who I am, that I am. So self-inquiry is the recognition of who am I? Who am I? And it's to experience the answer. And I think self-inquiry is the most direct pointing. It's unsparing, it's uncompromising. And that's the nature of self-inquiry, is to stun the mind. Who am I? But then, of course, there is the other side of the dance, and it's all awareness. Is the changing realm, which is the body of bliss, wisdom, mental body, emotional body, physical body, and then how we relate to the world, relationships, career. So there's a dynamic world, and that is always changing, because that is the nature of that. So when I hear beings say that I don't want any more suffering, I pose the question, who's talking? Who doesn't want to suffer? And it is consciousness, but it's consciousness identified with the mind and the body, which is not a fault, but it's just knowing that. It's knowing that in this dance, we have the capacity to be anything through potential and possibility. So there's a sense of suffering. Do you know why? Because it's a real experience. And while we have a human form, we can have the sense of suffering, the sense of freedom, the sense of being angry, being upset, the sense of being peaceful. So they're likened to experiences, and that is why they have that realness to them, because they are real experiences. It's just like two people going on a fairground ride, and they're both sat next to each other, and one being feels frightened because the ride is turbulent, and they're screaming and they're shouting and crying and saying, get me off, get me off. And the another being sat next to them could be laughing with excitement and think, oh, this is amazing, being turned upside down. They both went on the same ride. They both come back with a different narration of that experience, and both of them are right. The one who said that ride is scary and frightening, that one is right. And the one that says, no, it's exciting, it was amazing, that one's right, because they are explaining their experiences. So Suffering is an experience. That's the reality of suffering. It's a real experience, and experiences are supposed to feel real. So that's that said and done. So how do we stop this suffering? First of all, it is to see who and what you are. See who you are. And I do like to point to self-inquiry because it's the most direct path. It doesn't have time to mess around. You can also just notice, sit in the witnessing seat of noticing, just noticing what's arising. But the suffering is an experience, and it's not one that is brushed aside or spiritually bypassed. It's what the mind is saying about what is happening. It's the narration of the mind. So self-inquiry, when you say who and what is suffering, it's silence, because the one who says there is suffering, he's not there. Mr. Mind, he's disappeared. There is a way to structure the mind so that it doesn't appear unless it's going to be the servant. There is a way to structure the mind quite easily, because when the mind's structured, it stops becoming, it loses its psychological nature. The mind is only psychological when it hasn't been given a clear structure, a clear instruction. So yes. So just to wrap this up, suffering is a real experience. It's the mind that says it, the mind that has that sense of me, mine. And it's not to discredit that, it's to know that, know it. Know that you are attributeless, you are just existence. But then there's this other side, the changing realm, which is the waking consciousness. That consciousness that when the body arises in the morning that looks, has the capacity to identify with everything and can tell lots of stories. My God, do I know about storytelling. Can tell lots of stories and can have a real dynamic life. But then it takes the experiences really serious and it says, no, I'm suffering. I want God now. I've had enough. And I know that because that's just what this body mind did. But there is a way out. Just be faithful to your seeing. Resonance does it. If you resonate with a teaching, just keep listening to it. Not desperately or, with trying, with effort, just let it wash, because it's the resonance that washes and cleans the lens of perception. So I hope this has helped. I apologise for any aeroplanes that went over the house. I just grabbed my phone. I'm just sat on my laptop. I just grabbed my phone and I had a comment on a video. So I thought I'd respond like no time like the present moment. Have an amazing day. You take care. Bye-bye.